So I want to talk about this transition I made. The transition from being a stereotypical average-looking gamer into this shredded, anime-looking calisthenics athlete, and how I'm actually balancing being an athlete and a gamer since I'm going to EVO. If you're new to the channel, I made this video, Confessions from a Failed Pro Gamer, which adds more context to my backstory and marked the beginning of my channel. But it's been a while since I made that video, so long story short, I spent 6 years chasing my dream of becoming a pro gamer. But now, my dream is to be a successful creator. A big part of that being someone who expresses the art behind bodyweight training and inspiring people and bringing more awareness to calisthenics. So I was a fighting game player, and I competed in the NRS scene, NetherRealm Studios, so I competed in Mortal Kombat and Injustice. And one thing the characters in those games, plus Street Fighter and Tekken, have in common is that they're all shredded. And that was something that was always in the back of my mind, because I used to get teased and made fun of when I was a kid. I mainly played soccer and baseball growing up, so I was athletic, but I was never muscular. And playing fighting games for so many years, exposed to these characters who were in incredible shape, just kind of reinforced that. I was going to the gym during those years, but I didn't have much of a goal or any consistency. I wanted to win. I wanted to make a name for myself. So being in the online training rooms took more priority than training in the gym. So this continued for about 6 years before I took my indefinite break from competing. Now I created this video, how calisthenics leads to enlightenment. And one of the things I talk about is how I got interested in calisthenics. But long story short, I wanted an anime-like aesthetics and tried doing my first skill, which was an L-sit, because it's an exercise that's good for the core and I wanted a six-pack, but I couldn't do it. That led me to a video of people reacting to calisthenics in the gym, and from there I was all in. But one thing I noticed about bodyweight exercises is that they look like moves you'd see in a video game, specifically a fighting game. Now you may not see dynamic moves like a muscle up or a one-arm pull-up, or static holds like a front lever or a planche. But I think there's parallels you can draw between fighting games and calisthenics. One of them being that there's this flashiness element that just draws you in. When I was younger, I used to obsess so much over Liu Kang's bicycle kick, thinking it was the coolest move in the world. Nowadays, I still think it's pretty cool, but my new obsessions are the planche, one-arm handstand, and one-arm handstand flag. When I was younger and playing fighting games, I'd go into training mode with a new character, and the first place I'd go to in their move list was the special moves. Even when I was a filthy casual, I was still doing this, but as you become more competitive, you take a closer look at their frame data, pokes, strings, you know, the more important things that can make a character OP. But the special moves, the fact that they're called special moves just invokes this sense of curiosity. What powers or abilities do they have? What makes this character unique from the others? Moves like the bicycle kick, reuse, and Captain Falcon's. They just look cool, the same way the front lever, human flag, and the planche do. Now on the flip side, the regular moves would be the fundamental exercises in bodyweight training. Your push-ups, pull-ups, dips, and squats. They're the regular moves, and although they're not the most exciting or eye-catching movements, they work together with the skills or the special moves to make the athlete or the character more complete. Another parallel between fighting games and calisthenics is the community aspect. I've been a part of other gaming communities, but the one thing you can't deny about the FGC is their passion. They just love their games so much. Even during tournaments, with so much that could be on the line, you can still find players sharing tech, strategies, or just talking about the game. And I see a similar passion in calisthenics, sharing routines and strategies for unlocking certain moves, having group workouts, or just talking about the sport in general. I was deep into both of these communities, so much that I've developed friendships with people that'll last a lifetime. The last and perhaps the most important parallel is the mental resilience. I spent years competing at a high level and won some local events, but was always chasing the top 8s of majors, the EVO medal, the big win. And it's yet to happen. And yet, at the end of every tournament weekend, when I felt more like a failed pro gamer, I would still continue to play the next day, training until the next tournament where I would try again. There's a lot of pressure when competing in tournaments, in the FGC especially, when you can hear the crowd heckling after every round, or when there's a tense moment during a match. And I see that same mental resilience in calisthenics. It took me 5 months to unlock the front lever, but the journey seemed so endless, filled with lots of doubt, wondering if all of the training was worth it, if I'd ever even unlock it. And now that I did, I'm still dealing with the same things, but with other movements like the straddle planche and improving my shoulders for a better handstand. The workouts are challenging even at a beginner level and only get more difficult as you get stronger, whether that's by increasing your endurance or doing harder movements. And staying motivated to work out or compete requires mental resilience as well. We've all seen a real master comeback in a game where the odds are all stacked against someone, yet they somehow pull it off. Or you're in those moments during a workout where you feel like giving up, but still push through to the end. So although calisthenics and fighting games are different on the surface, when you take a closer look at them, you start to realize that they're more closely related than you think. So now I want to talk about how I've been balancing training calisthenics and gaming. The first thing I do is prioritize working out before I game. Training is the most difficult of the two, especially since I'm doing bodyweight exercises, so I always make sure to do the harder thing first. That way it makes my gaming sessions skill-free, which leads to the second thing, fulfilling all of my core responsibilities first. It's closely related to the first thing because at the end of your day, you don't want to be thinking, damn, I had some more work I should have done first. That's going to plague your consciousness, ultimately ruining your focus and concentration, and never allowing you to enter that flow state where you're performing at your best. Now the summer's here, so if you're under 18 and you're out of school but you're still home living with your parents, then that means you probably have a lot of free time, which likely means you have very few, if any, responsibilities. Now me, I have a job, so I'd go to work, come home, then train, and then game to end off the day. Or I may just game first and work second if it's a rest day. But if you have a job, I suggest putting that along with any other core responsibilities first, then training, and then gaming. The last thing I do is be more aware of my body and posture. Although fighting games and calisthenics share some similarities, gaming promotes a sedentary lifestyle, while calisthenics promotes a more dynamic lifestyle. Whenever you're losing or playing against a tough opponent, we have this tendency to get closer to the screen, usually being in a more slouched position, which leads to our posture suffering. We usually game with bad posture anyway, but in those moments where the game's more serious, it usually gets worse. My posture's improved over the years, but there's still room for improvement, particularly in my shoulders. I always see Twitch streamers with a posture check as a reward viewers can select, and for good reason. So one of the biggest keys to being both a gamer and someone who does bodyweight training is to find a way to balance these opposing lifestyles. That way you're still optimizing your performance while still having a high quality of life.
Alright, so that concludes the video. And speaking of videos, my channel's been pretty inconsistent with the videos lately, but I recently just graduated college, so I'm going to be creating more shorts for calisthenics and more long-form content, and I'm definitely going to be more consistent with the channel, so stay tuned for that. The last thing that I want to mention is if you go in the description, there's going to be a link where if you put in your email, I'll send you a free Calisthenics for Gamers PDF guide. It's a guide that goes over some of the core principles you need before you start your bodyweight strength training journey, and I also draw more comparisons between calisthenics and video games. Some of them aren't listed in the video, but they are in the guide, and like I said, if you put in your email, I'll send that to you absolutely free. And let me know what you thought about the video too, whether you're a competitive gamer, a filthy casual, or you're somebody who doesn't even play video games at all. Am I onto something? Am I making some sense here? Or did I just yap for the past 7-8 minutes? And if you read that guide and you're somebody who wants to take your fitness more seriously, DM me on Instagram at IamMcChillin. Whether you want to build muscle, lose some weight, start learning some skills, or you need some accountability, I have some availability for the month of June. So DM me on Instagram if that interests you, and we can talk about it and discuss further details. But yeah, that's going to conclude this video. I have more in the works. I'm really trying to be somebody who bridges the gap between gaming and fitness. I really do think that they're closely related. I really believe in that, and I want to make more videos for now that really demonstrates that and kind of bridges the gap between the two. I don't think a lot of people are doing that, and I think I could be somebody who, I came from both sides of the spectrum, and now I'm trying to be the guy who's kind of in the middle. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.